Hi everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. When I studied in Poland, I tried a very special cake for the first time and I instantly fell in love with it. So today we're making an Éclair cake, also known as Polish Karpatka cake. These desserts get its name from the Carpathian Mountains because the top looks just like mountain peaks. And honestly, it's basically one giant Éclair. So if you don't want to spend time piping lots of little ones, this cake is the perfect alternative. It's light, very creamy, and the custard tastes almost like ice cream. And the best part is, it looks much harder than it really is. So let's get started. And before we dive in, a big thank you to my sponsors for supporting me and helping this channel grow. Let's start with the custard because it needs time to cool down. In a saucepan, add 500 grams of milk and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and pinch of salt. Place it over medium heat and warm it until it just begins to simmer. While that's heating, in a separate bowl whisk together 2 eggs and 160 grams of sugar until well combined. Then add 40 grams of cornstarch and mix again until the mixture is completely smooth. If the mixture feels too thick, you can take a small splash of the warm milk from the saucepan and add it in, just to loosen it and make mixing a little easier. When you see your milk starting to simmer, take it off the heat. Now slowly pour the hot milk into the egg mixture in a thin steam, whisking constantly so the eggs don't scramble. Once everything is combined, pour the mixture back into the saucepan and return it to medium heat. Cook the custard while stirring non-stop. After about 7 to 10 minutes, it will thicken and you will see the first small bubbles. That's when it's ready. Remove it from the heat. The custard should look thick, silky, and completely smooth. Pour it into a clean bowl, cover the surface with a plastic wrap so it doesn't form a skin, and let it cool completely. Remember, it needs to be at room temperature later when we mix it with the butter, so you can chill it in the fridge for a little while and then let it finish cooling on the counter. Now let's make the eclair dough. In a saucepan, add 70 grams of milk, 70 grams of water, and 60 grams of butter. Place it over medium heat and warm everything until the butter melts and the mixture is hot. Then add a quarter teaspoon of salt and a quarter teaspoon of sugar and give it a good mix. Once it reaches a gentle simmer, sift in 100 grams of all-purpose flour. Stir quickly and continuously. The dough will come together into one smooth ball. Keep cooking it for another minute or two to evaporate extra moisture. This helps the dough bake up beautifully. When it looks glossy and pulls away from the sides of the pan, take it off the heat and let it cool for a couple of minutes. Once the dough has cooled slightly, it's time to add the eggs. You will need 3 room temperature eggs, and we are adding them one at a time. Add the first egg and mix until it's fully incorporated. A wooden spoon works best here. At first, the dough may look like it's separating, but just keep mixing. It will come back together and become smooth again. Repeat with the second egg and then the third, making sure each one is fully absorbed before adding the next. In the end, you should have a thick, glossy eclair dough that slowly falls off the spatula. When it slides off your spoon, it should leave a little tail. That's the perfect consistency. Now, take 2 baking dishes. I'm using cake rings lined with parchment and foil on the bottom. They're about 8.5 inches in size. If you don't have 2 pans, that's totally fine. You can bake the layers separately, one after another. Divide the dough into roughly 2 equal portions. Each layer will be baked on its own, and that's what gives Karpatka its beautifully wavy mountain peak top. Spread the first portion of dough onto the parchment inside your dish. Try not to smooth it out too much. Those uneven peaks are exactly what make Karpatka so pretty. Repeat the same with the second portion. Bake in a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 25 minutes. Every oven is a little different, so keep an eye on it. The pastries should puff up and turn a deep golden brown. Once the pastries are done, take them out of the oven and let them cool completely before removing them from the pan. And while they're cooling, we can return to our custard and finish the cream. In a mixing bowl, add 150 grams of very soft butter. Beat it for about 3 to 4 minutes until it becomes light, fluffy, and pale in color. Now remove the wrap from your room temperature custard and begin adding it 2 tablespoons at a time, continuing to beat on medium speed. Don't rush this step. Let each portion fully blend in before adding the next. This slow gradual mixing is what gives the cream its silky stable texture. When you're done, the cream should look smooth, pale, glossy, and hold its shape beautifully. Now that both pastry layers are completely cooled, remove them from the baking dishes. Use a knife to gently go around the edges. This helps release them without breaking those beautiful waves. Before assembling, take a small knife and poke a few tiny holes throughout only the bottom layer. This helps the cream settle in and keeps the cake moist. Now take your cake stand. Place the bottom layer onto the plate and press it down gently so it sits flat. I like to place my cake ring around it at this point. It just makes everything easier and helps keep the cake perfectly shaped. Spread all of the cream evenly over the top, making sure to reach all the edges. Now take the second layer. Before placing it on, add a little cream with your spatula into the deeper waves. This fills the gaps and gives the cake extra support. Then gently set the second pastry layer on top. Press it down just slightly so it settles into the cream, but don't flatten it. We want to keep those mountain-like peaks. Cover the whole cake with plastic wrap and refrigerate it for at least 4 to 8 hours, or ideally overnight. When the cake is fully chilled and set, remove it from the fridge and gently take off the ring. Use a spatula to smooth out the cream on the sides. And that's it. Right before serving, dust the top with a little powdered sugar. It gives the Karpatka that classic snowy mountain look. Slice, serve, and enjoy this airy, creamy eclair-like dessert. Thank you so much for watching and baking with me today. If you like this recipe, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with someone who loves sweets. I will see you in the next video. Bye.